My name is Stephen Spencer. I am 22 years old. I took home a doll, like a fake baby, and I ended up turning it off after a day and a half. When it was first switched on, it was alright. Took a bit of getting used to because it was a bit noisy. And it seemed like it was very, very needy. But once you figured out what it needed, it was alright. And it shut up.
How was your first night?
How was my first night? Terrible. Absolutely bloody awful. It woke up like every 2 hours or something, and then trying to figure out what it needs, like nappy changing or milk or whatever, at stupid o'clock in the morning when you've not had 9 months to prepare for it, is it's a bit of a task. But we managed it, we got through it, and yeah, I've got one more night to go before I send it back.
I think the difference between them would be, obviously you've got an attachment with the real baby. You know, if you're not doing things for it, then it could physically get hurt or harmed. Well, with the doll, you can't really take it seriously because you know it's not.
Is it harder or easier than you thought it'd be?
It's a lot harder than I thought it'd be. It's purely because I didn't know how needy it was going to be. It's very needy. And it doesn't shut up.
That was horrible.
And it's got a really horrible cry, yeah. It's one of them where you just can't ignore it. Not that you'd want to ignore it, because that's technically child abuse. But you know what I mean. It's, yeah.
I did it with my partner, Kareen. Like we took it in turns. Because she's really interested in what we do here, so she wanted to join in. And yeah, she enjoyed it.
I'm going to see about going to bed, and we'll see what happens in the middle of the night. Night, everyone.
The hardest thing about having it was knowing that we might not have our own. Because Kareen's got PCOS, which means it's really difficult for her to get pregnant. And she's got a few other problems as well, so it's, like the chances are of us getting pregnant are very slim. And with it being one of the biggest things we want, ultimately we want to get married and have a family. But yeah, it kind of brought it home a little bit that we might not be able to. So yeah, it got to the point where we couldn't really like cope with it, and we turned it off. To be honest, I took it in the first place because I didn't realise what kind of impact it would have. I thought it was just going to be a bit of a laugh and, you know, feed it, change it, look after it and send it back. But when we took it home and like we actually sat and thought about it, it was really difficult. And we didn't realise it was going to be like that. So yeah, in hindsight, I wouldn't have really took it home. But in a way, I'm glad I did, because we've had some conversations that we otherwise wouldn't have had. So overall, I'd say it's been a mixed experience. It's positive in the sense that we've had the conversations we need to have and we discussed the problems we've got and what we're going to do about it. Wasn't so positive in what I've already explained. It made us feel a bit like crap. But like I say, if I hadn't took it on, we wouldn't have had those conversations and spoke of what we actually thought and wouldn't have sorted it out. Before we turned it off, yeah, the best moment was my sister came round because she knew we had it, and she brought it some baby clothes because she thought the outfit that you'd sent home it was hideous. So she came around with some little baby clothes and we had to put it on, and I just thought it was funny. Yeah, so that was definitely one of the high points. Any other funny moments? Yeah, we took it to a friend's. We got a friend who's just had a baby, and Kareen had the idea of going around and visiting them, but we had to take this fake baby on the bus. So obviously you're carrying a doll, nobody knows it's a doll. You're getting on the bus, it starts whinging. You've got all this stuff in your rucksack. You just feel like stuffing the thing in the rucksack, but you can't do that. People are looking at you as if to say, well, if you've not got anything to carry it in, why is it not wrapped in a blanket? And so you're constantly explaining to people that it's not real, it's a doll, it's not a baby. But yeah, I wouldn't sit near her, I made her do that.
Hello. This is the last bit of recording that I'm going to do. Everything's going back tomorrow. I turned the baby off because it was really difficult looking after it, knowing that I might never get my chance. Kareen's got a problem with it that means that we may never be able to have children. It just happens to be the one thing that we really, really want. So we just found it too difficult looking after something that we couldn't, get attached to. And anyway, yeah, so sorry if I disappointed anybody, but yeah, I didn't manage to finish the challenge anyway. It's all done.
I looked on the website to turn it off. I was reading through pages and pages and pages of web page at about 4 o'clock in the morning, and it mentioned there was an off button on its back. So I just pushed a knife into it, a sharp edge of a knife, and it made a funny choking noise and stopped crying after a while. So yeah.
How did you feel at that point?
Well, with the noises, then it may have felt like I kind of murdered a baby, but yeah, it was 4 o'clock in the morning. I was at the end of my tether, so it just had to be done. But it was quite funny.